И вновь я приветствую тебя в третьей серии прохождения этой великолепной игры, дорогой зритель, где мы, играя за вампира, ставшего таковым не по своей воле, пытается выяснить истину. И, соответственно, мы ему с этим как сможем, так и поможем.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. Mr. Hampton needs me right now.
Хорошо. В общем, нет. Ну что? Опять из огня до в полымя? Так, а что у нас про дамочку? Ничего не известно. Ну что ж, позже разберемся.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seeds of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Да, ребята.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Клей Кокс.
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. Me guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Качество крови. Качество крови указывает на то, сколько единиц опыта вы получите, убив этого горожанина. Чем выше качество крови, тем больше опыта вы получите. Загипнотизировать. Чтобы выпить кровь человека, сначала нужно загипнотизировать его и увести подальше от посторонних глаз. Если ваш уровень гипноза равен уровню сопротивления жертвы или превосходит его, вы можете получить контроль над ее разумом. Нажмите Q, чтобы загипнотизировать Клея.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Искушение кровью. Нажмите левую кнопку мыши, чтобы объять Клея Кокса, или пробел, чтобы отпустить его. Объяв его, вы получите много единиц опыта, но помните, это приведет к определенным последствиям. Чем больше вы узнаете о горожанах и чем больше собираете связанных с ними подсказок, тем больше полученный опыт. Ну что ж, хоть я и видел то, что он убил того другого, не дает мне права убивать его просто так. Сначала нужно выяснить, что, почему, как и зачем, а уж только потом решать. Соответственно, пока я его отпущу, но если узнаю, что он сделает что-то еще плохое, высосу его и косточкой покушаю.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
И что? Я его в больницу-то буду везти?
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go. But no famished hunter can run for long.
Так, жалко, что нельзя нырнуть и тело достать, чтобы узнать, кого же он убил и выяснить все подробности всего этого дела. Клей Кокс. Качество крови ничем не болеет. Ну, пока что я ничего про него не знаю, соответственно, не буду пока его трогать. Ну, возможно, он и не ангелочек, но убивать пока его я не хочу. Успеется. Убить мы всегда успеем. Фух. Ну а мне самому тоже пора в больничку, так что это... Разумеется. Соберем все, что можно собрать. Не кашляйте в общественных местах. Берегите свое и чужое здоровье. Плюясь, чихая и кашляя, вы распространяете инфлюенцию. Болезнь распространяется с капельками, вылетающими из носа и горла. Не кашляйте в общественных местах. Ну, в принципе, это логично. Но только это правило редко кто соблюдает. Так, это что? Подобрать нельзя? Нельзя подобрать. Так, наша задача это войти в больницу. Ну, это мы, походу, сейчас и сделаем. Так, по сути, нам больше-то делать-то и нечего. Дополнительных заданий у меня пока нет. Соответственно, пошли. Отдохнем в больничке. Ну, а там дальше видно будет. Ну, короче, типичный Dark Souls. Ну, относительно. Боевка почти что похожа. Механика тоже почти что похожа, но со своими особенностями. Короче, теперь во всех играх, где есть выносливость, можно сравнивать с темными душами, да. Ну и с Bloodborne, ну, неважно. В общем, вы поняли, что я имею в виду. На этом, думаю, все. Я понял.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Так, ну давай пообщаемся.
I would like to ask a few questions first. What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Ясно. Подробнее о тебе что-то я могу узнать? 2000 качества крови. Ну что ж.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
В связи с эпидемией инфлюенции эта больница больше не принимает пациентов. Мест нет. Пожалуйста, возвращайтесь домой. Да, дела обстоят крайне плачевно.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Круто.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Логично.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything. And it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Так, новое расследование. То есть это наше второстепенное задание, да? Ну, в принципе, можно сходить глянуть, почему бы и нет. Загипнотизировать. Что можно подробнее об этом узнать? Ага, нужен второй уровень. У меня пока медосмотр Е. Подробнее. 1000. Не так уж и много.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm fine, Doc. Physically, at least. But I would give everything to be in a better place right now.
Для всего нужны подсказки. То есть нужно его сначала получше узнать.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Ну что ж, давайте глянем, что у него есть, в принципе. Денег у нас вообще маловато. Потом все купим. Потом все купим. Войти в сад за больницей. Где у нас на карте это отображается? В сад за больницей.
Should I consider the offer from that Cadogan fellow?
Ну что ж, выясним. То есть со всеми нужно болтать, все задания выполнять, и возможно это как-то повлияет на все это дело. Что у нас тут происходит? Ну что ж, в больницу, значит, зайдем позже грузить. Требуются волонтеры. Так, больничка это хорошо, но потом.
It's safer here than anywhere else.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Come on, don't be ridiculous, dear colleague.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Отлично, подсказка есть. Это хорошо.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Ну, он тоже своими делами занят, которым не всем нужно знать. Так, здесь нам не подходит. Так, здесь 3 подсказки, это не подходит.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Спасибо, побеседовали. Наше задание по-прежнему дополнительное активно. Стеклянная пробирка пригодится. Так, в сад за больницей. Сюда?
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Логично. Так, найти в саду потерянный бумажник. И все ради денег. Правда, не своих. И не для себя. Печаль, беда. Ни с чем нельзя повзаимодействовать. Так, опа, здрасте. Бродячий скальп. Мощный, однако. Он только один тут? Ну что ж, будем надеяться. уклон. Так, надо привыкнуть к двуручному оружию. Да. О, ну, слава яйцам, я не со временем восстанавливаюсь. Это радует. Это вкрай радует. Надо будет привыкнуть. К двуручному оружию надо привыкать, потому что с одноручным все довольно легко, быстро и просто. Вот с этим тут надо не махать им постоянно. 1-2 раза и уклон. Ну и понятное дело, как только мы станем сильнее, то тогда все будет хорошо. Так, лучше я возьму одноручное. Так, что-то я немножко... Немножко я увлекся. Свет же вы не любите? А ну в смысле, я ж нажал удар. А это мне не хватает крови для этого. Ну зашибись. Во время боя... А нет, здоровье понемножку восстанавливается, это радует. И у них тоже, да? Ну зашибись. Попал так попал. Так, подлечились, хорошо. Один готов. Отлично, отлично, все. Реванш, реванш. Иди сюда, пупсик, иди ко мне. Ну и чё? Спать, труп, спать. Все. Немножко я разобрался. Что-то немножко. Почему я слово немножко идет? Ладно. Фух. Потерял малость хватку. Увлекся, называется. Так. Фотография в бумажнике. Фотография улыбающейся парочки. На обороте несколько слов. Милтон и Пиппа. Навсегда. Так, фотографию мы уже осмотрели. И все. Наше задание выполнено. Ну это в принципе хорошо. По сути мы и бумажник нашли, и возможно избежали ненужных жертв. Мало ли кто бы тут лазил из обычных людей. Сам бы либо стал таким же, как те, которые тут бродили, либо же просто был бы загрызен насмерть. Вот. Так что мы со своей задачей справились на отлично. Я так полагаю. Карантин. На территорию не заходить. Ну что ж. Мы свою задачу выполнили. Давайте отчитаемся. Да, бег нас выматывает, конечно, конкретно. Ну и опять-таки можно все это свалить пока на слабость после того, как мы только стали вампиром, и тут же на нас посыпалось все вот это дело. Здрасте. Так вы, оказывается, по ночам тут бродите в довольно-таки больших количествах. Шон Хэмптон, 3000 костей, ну это понятно. А ты кто? Почему мне тебя не отображают? Странно. 6-й уровень. Силен для меня, силен. просто отдыхает. Ясно. То есть у вас тут целая куча таких по ночам бродит. Ну что ж. Буду знать, буду знать. На вас охотиться можно. И даже нужно. А вот обычных людей убивать не стоит. Без крайней на то необходимости. Так, ну ладно, здесь мы с этим разобрались. Что ж. Говорим нашему челу, что вот так и так вы молодцы, все сделали. Так, Гвинет, с тобой мы еще не общались.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Логично.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Ясно. 3000 качества крови.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Так.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Ого. Ничего себе, мощная женщина.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Так, спасибо. Все эти подсказки нам, возможно, пригодятся.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least.
О, подсказка.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Ну что ж, одна подсказка есть, осталось еще использовать 3. Но по мере их
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
вступления, да. Хорошо. Кого еще мы можем? С тобой я могу еще... О. Так, он там по-прежнему внизу, да? Ну и хрен с тобой.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any...
The You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Что ж тебе выбрать-то?
You've nothing to prove, Dr. Tippett, to anybody. And we all praise your experience. Please, have some rest.
I am perfectly fine, and I am not too old for this job.
О,
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
ну что ж, я, по крайней мере, постарался. Так, главная наша задача — это, наконец-таки, отчитаться. Но перед этим... Милтон Хукс. Опа! Здравствуйте. Ну, с вами я побеседую. С тобой тоже. Ну что ж, давайте кошелек-то отдадим.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Да само собой. Что-то из личного могу теперь задать? О, могу.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Ну, в принципе, да. Так что, как бы, совет да любовь, как говорится. Не мне им мешать.
Goodbye, Milton.
Ну, как могли, вроде бы побеседовали. Расследование завершено. Ура! Давайте хотя бы глянем, как оно у нас. Итак, Милтон Хукс, качество крови, ничего не болеет. Задание выполнено. Супер. Ну, теперь можно идти в больничку и...
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Пипа. Дайте я с тобой побеседую.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Что ж, новая подсказка есть, можно побеседовать, неплохо.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Логично. Ну что ж, спасибо за беседу.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
С кем еще можно побеседовать? Прикольный чел. Так, и ты у нас кто?
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Ну, допустим.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Yes.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire!
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
О, у нас новое дополнительное задание, серьезно? Ну, в принципе, я не против.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Hmm? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
Oh, it's such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Ясно. Так, а сколько тебе нужно для этого? Понятно.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Так, хорошо. У нас есть новое расследование, которое нам, возможно, придется забацать. Капец, сколько тут народу. Если так, сейчас я буду со всеми общаться, сколько у меня на это уйдет времени. Мама дорогая. Так, где мы были? Пипа есть. Жесть, просто жесть. Так, а что теперь я могу с тобой?
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Good evening, Milk.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Так, отношения есть. О, отлично.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Логично. Ну что ж.
Goodbye, Milton.
Вот мы немножко разузнали все. Так, упс. Что у нас из расследования? Ставим. Отслеживать, конечно же. Выяснить, кто шпионит за Тельмой. Тельма Хоукрофт, безумная пациентка Пембрукской больницы. Она убеждена в том, что уже умерла и стала нежитью, и теперь не может выбраться из гниющего тела. Несмотря на то, что эта женщина очевидные проблемы с психикой, она утверждает, что какие-то люди считают ее вампиром и поэтому следят за ней. Может, она имеет в виду стражей Прибена? Нельзя допустить, чтобы эти охотники обыскивали больницу. Возможно, мне стоит проследить за этими охотниками и защитить от них Тельму Хоукрофт. Что же, в принципе, это можно сделать, но уже, наверное, в следующей серии, так как это у нас уже довольно-таки продолжительно идет. Так, с Пипой я уже беседовал. Давайте пообщаемся со всеми, кто тут есть, и на этом, думаю, завершим.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Hallcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Ну что ж, отлично.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Ну что ж, вроде бы как все, что могли у него спросить, спросили.
Goodbye for...
You disgust on every street corner.
Итак.
I wish I could be sick again. Feel my blood boil with fever.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hallcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Не повезло ему.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
В смысле, Кокс пропал? Я ж его нашел. Что не так?
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Ясно, запомним.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Goodbye, Mr.
Итак, мне еще нужно поговорить с тобой.
It's locked, all right.
К сожалению, мне я не попадаю. С тобой беседовал, с тобой беседовал, с тобой тоже. Так, ага, да. Как я и думал, она сидит там в кабинете, и с ней пообщаться сейчас не предоставляется возможным. Так, здравствуйте. Узнать больше о горожанине. Выяснить, кто шпионит. Так, значит, с тобой. Ну что ж, с тобой мы не беседовали, да?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Логично.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
Ну что ж, раз ты так обо мне думаешь, то что ж я поделаю. Ладно.
Thank you for your...
Иди нафиг отсюда. Так, теперь ты у нас остался, да? Так, еще ты. Со всеми остальными я уже беседовал. Нет, не со всеми. Сколько же вас, мама дорогая. Если сейчас со всеми буду общаться, это ж капец, сколько времени займет. Поэтому давайте лучше на этом все заканчиваем на сегодня. И в следующий раз я обязательно со всеми побеседую, выполню дополнительное задание. Ну а потом, соответственно, пойдем по основе. Ну а пока можно немножко передохнуть.